So tonight for dinner, I'm going to make coconut curry chicken for 7 hungry firefighters, and I'm even going to make a homemade naan bread. Now, I haven't made this dish in a while, so I think this is all the ingredients that I need. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with a little bit of coconut milk. Now just buy the cheap cans. You don't have to get fancy with this stuff, but just go ahead and hit it with a can opener and just start dumping everything in. Everything is going to come out in two parts. You're going to have a liquid and you're going to have more of a cream solid. So make sure you take that whisk out and break up the thick cream parts. That way everything has a nice, smooth, consistent texture. Now let's start adding some spices. So this is just regular granulated garlic. I go in with 4 teaspoons of that. I also do 4 teaspoons of onion powder, 4 teaspoons of hot curry powder, 4 teaspoons of garam masala, 4 teaspoons of ground turmeric, roughly 2 teaspoons of salt. Now I just eyeballed it, but if I would have measured out, it would have came out to about 2 or so. So then just go ahead and give that a nice little whisk. And at this point, you can just kind of taste as you go. If you want it a little more spicy, you can add more curry. If you need more salt, you can add the salt. But I got it exactly where I want. So then I come on top with a nice little squeeze of honey. Next, we're going to do a little onion and red bell pepper. And with the magic of editing, it's chopped up. So let's go ahead and slide it into the crock pot. Take a spoon, give it a little stir, make sure she's mixed in nicely. Throw the lid on the crock pot and turn it on 4 hours on low. Next, we're going to take chicken, about 4 pounds or so, chop it up, small little pieces like that, and set it to the side. Now, we're going to focus on the naan bread. So what I want to do is I want to measure out 4 cups of bread flour. Now I'm using the King Arthur because it doesn't have folic acid. Folic acid is not good for us, and honestly, if you know, you know. So next, we're going to go in with a little bit of salt. Now I'm just doing 2 teaspoons of salt. And then I'm going in with the baking powder. Baking powder is going to help it kind of rise and set up, but 2 teaspoons of that as well. And then 1 teaspoon of active yeast. Then let's kind of level this thing out a little bit and go in with 1.5 cups of warm water. And then 1/4 cup of any olive oil. So once that's dumped on, go ahead and grab your spoon and start mixing. Now you want to make sure this gets incorporated really well. As you mix, it should start to dry up on you. Once you get mixing, if you see that it's a little bit too dry and it doesn't want to really stick together, you can always add just a tiny bit of water. And just the same, if you're mixing up and it seems like it's a little bit too soupy, you can always go back in with just a little bit of flour. But if you stick to the ingredients and the measurements that I gave you, it should turn out perfectly fine. So I'm just mixing everything up with a spoon here. Just getting it to a point where I can start getting my hands in it. And there we go. Now we're going in. Give a little squeeze, give a little mix. What I'm trying to do at this point is just keep working it around and around so that the wet dough can soak up the dry flour that's remaining on the sides and the edges of the bowl. So I just kind of keep squeezing it, trying to make a ball with it. I don't want to keep it or make it too terribly tight, but still try to make a ball. Move it around. Use your fingers to squeeze. Use the palm of your hand. Use the heel of your hand. And you see how it's starting to stick really good now. I didn't have to add any extra flour. Didn't have to add any extra water. It was a really good consistency. So make sure you definitely stick to those measurements that I talked to you about. So now I'll set that to the side. Go ahead and toss a little flour down on a clean prepared surface. And I just started kneading the dough. So all I'm doing is I'm taking the edges and rolling it to the middle, and I'll just continue doing this around and around and around until it starts to smooth out. I don't have so many hard, firm edges anymore. It's no longer kind of dry feeling. It all starts to feel that same kind of moist feeling, but it's not so moist that it's sticking, and it's not so dry that it doesn't stick to itself, if that makes sense. So just keep working it into a nice little ball like you see here. Then take your bowl, put a little olive oil in it, wipe it around so it makes the bowl non-stick. Then take your dough, set it in the bowl, form it up, put a piece of saran wrap over it, and set it to the side for 45 minutes. So now we're going to cook the chicken. A little olive oil goes in a non-stick pan. The pan's nice and hot, so as soon as I put it down, it is sizzling. Just mix it around by hand. Spread it out. them on top with a little kosher salt. Just a pinch or so. Keep the chicken moving around. You don't want to over brown it or get it really dry, but you do want just a little bit of a crust on the outside edge. So while the chicken's cooking, I'm back cleaning. I like a clean prep surface, guys. I clean as I go, that way there's not a lot of dishes at the end. And I clean my surfaces of the countertop, that way there's no cross contamination. So this is all really good advice. It's a good way to keep yourself from getting sick. So my chicken's getting really close. Just a couple little final flips on it. Everything looks golden brown, nice and consistent. So now we're going to take it over to our sauce and just drop it right on in. Grab yourself a little spoon or a fork in my case. Mix it around. Make sure everything gets coated nicely. Spread all that chicken out, that way it heats and cooks evenly. Put the lid back on. Lock it if your lid locks. If it doesn't, just drop the lid on and go wash that bowl. Alright, so what we're going to do now, we're just going to check on it. It's been cooking for about 4 hours on low. Looks good, smells great. I dig it. Alright, we're getting close to eating here, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting the bread ready. So again, my tabletop or my surface is nice and clean and sanitized. So I just take a little olive oil, spread it out on my surface. You could also do this with flour. It'll give you the same outcome. But I take that bread after it's been rising for about 45 minutes and it's proofed up. Just set it down on your work surface. I like to flip it around, make sure both sides get coated with that oil. Now, I'm trying to make 12 pieces of bread. So I cut this thing in half once, set half to the side. Now I'll go ahead and stretch it out. Do a nice long rectangle piece. And from here, I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to cut each side into thirds. So that gives me 3 on the left. It gives me 3 on the right. I'll bring out my second piece. Same thing. Rinse, repeat. Make it to a nice little rectangle form. Cut it in half. 1, 2, 3 pieces on the left. 1, 2, 3 pieces on the right. So now I got 12 pieces of naan bread that I can make. All right, let's make our rice. Basmati rice goes in a rice cooker. I don't measure this, I just eyeball it. I put about half of that, would probably be about 3 cups of rice or so, into a rice cooker. Put it in the sink, turn the water on, and wash the rice. You have to wash your rice, you guys. If you don't want it to be clumpy or sticky, you make sure you wash the rice. So as it's filling up, I just agitate it with my hand just to kind of get it mixed around. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the water down a little bit, and I'm going to allow it to just rinse the rice and stay on for about 10 minutes. Now I know the rice is clean when the water is running clear. Set it over here to the side, shake it, level it out. And once the water comes up to the very bottom of my first digit, where that crease is in your finger, that lets you know that's how much water you need. No measurements required. Just take it to that first little crease in your finger. So then, drop it back on the rice maker, put the lid on, turn it on. Alright. The curry chicken looks good. I went ahead and killed the heat, gave it a stir. It looks good, it smells good. The whole firehouse smells like Indian at this point. Everyone is starving. So now, let's go over here and let's start making our naan bread. So again, back on the clean prepared oiled surface, I take the bread and I just work it out into pieces. Now you don't have to be fancy with this. It doesn't have to be a particular shape. Just take it, flatten it out. Now you don't want to smash it too flat because it does have air pockets in there, and that's what's going to make the bread nice and airy. But just work it out so you don't have any overly thick pieces and under thin pieces. A little olive oil goes in a bowl. A little brush. Brush the oil onto one side. This is what's going to help it have that nice oily taste without sticking to your cast iron skillet. Now we take it over to the fire. Drop her into a smoking skillet. I'm running about a medium-high heat. Don't go too far. You got to stay near the bread at this point. If you take your eye off it, it'll definitely burn. But I'm cooking 2 at a time, just to speed things up. So the olive oil goes on that backside. By the time I brush the second one and put the bowl down, grab my spatula. This first piece right here is ready to flip. So I lift it up, give it a little check. Everything looks good. Flip it, bang. That's the color you want right there. That is money. Now we'll go ahead and pull her off. Set it on the plate for now. I'll prepare a pan here in just a minute, but for now, I just want to get it off the heat so it doesn't burn. Okay, rice is done. I just heard it click up. Lift the lid, and look at that. Perfect rice, you guys. So we're rolling through the bread at this point. One last little flip. Take it off. Toss it into that pan. Number 11 going in, and that's number 12. Naan bread's done. Turn the stove off. Yum. Alright, we're getting ready for service prep now. So let's go ahead and put a nice little degreaser down. This is simple green. That'll help cut that oil that I oiled all over the stainless steel. When I'm done wiping that off, I'll hit it with some water, come back over the top of it again. Grab a couple more paper towels. Give everything a nice little wipe. Alright, let's plate this thing. Bowl first. Rice goes in next. I do 3 scoops. We'll make it 4. Why not? Coconut curry. Smells delicious. My mouth's watering as I ladle this thing out right now. So I'll give it a couple good ladles. You can give it some extra sauce if you want. Never hurt. That's a little bit of green fresh chive chopped on top. And there you go, boys. This is how to make coconut curry chicken for 7 hungry firefighters.